Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
And now, WTOE Radio Live, brought to you by throughoureyes.org.
Cheryl Echevarria of Echevarria Travel, your one-on-one travel agent, making your travel dreams come true. Home of the independent traveler. Whether you're sighted, blind, or disabled, whether you use a cane, guide dog, or sighted guide, Echevarria Travel will get you there safely. Come and learn more about traveling independently.
Come with me, let's go. Come with me, let's go. Come with me, let's go. Come with me, let's go.
Hello, everybody, and it is November 6, 2013, and welcome to the Echevarria Travel Show with my co-host, Margo Downey from Buffalo. Hello, Margo.
Hi, Cheryl, and hi, everybody.
Good to have you back. We missed you last month on the show. This month, we're going to be honoring our veterans with our guest, Dwight Sayer, who's the president of the NFB, the National Federation of the Blind's National Association of Blind Veterans. That was a long title, but he'll be on after our 2-minute break. Also, at the 8:30 hour, we're going to have President Marion Gwizdala, president of the National Association of Guide Dog Users, and we're going to be talking to him about the issues with the airlines that have been going on, whether it's a guide dog user and sitting in areas other than the bulkhead area and traveling at the airports itself and with the TSA. And we'll get a little bit into the TSA Cares program that has been in place for a little bit. So, Margo, how have you been?
Doing well and just enjoying everything.
Wonderful. Now, we were listening to Dwight a little bit before the show went on, and it's 75 degrees and sunny in Florida, and it's pouring rain up here in New York. So we're going to have to stick it to him a little bit when he gets on the show. But I also wanted to bring up last month, the Travel and Tourism went on their very first fundraiser trip. We went to Utah and Las Vegas, and our December show will be all about that trip. So members of the NFB Travel and Tourism, members of the trip will be on the call giving their feedback, and we'll also be talking about the 2014 trip to Nashville. So we hope you all stay tuned for that as well. So we also had the NFB of New York State Convention in October, and we were talking about many things going on with travel up at the state convention. What I wanted to bring up before we even go any further, as I mentioned, I'm Cheryl Echevarria. I'm the host of the Echevarria Travel Show. I also own Echevarria Travel. I'm the president of our Travel and Tourism Division, and we're a live call-in talk radio show. To call in to speak to myself, Margo, Dwight, or Marion Gwizdala, please call 1-888-572-0141. And this radio station cannot be on the air without contributions from you, the listeners. And to send in a tax-deductible donation, just send in a check to the Northeast chapter of the NFB of New Jersey at 254 Spruce Street, Bloomfield, New Jersey, 07003, and put in the memo donations to the WTOE network through oureyes.org. So thank you for all the contributions so we can be on the air. When we come back from our 2-minute break, we'll be honoring our veterans and discussing with Dwight Sayer all about the National Association of Blind Veterans and also about the space available program to our disabled veterans. So stay tuned, and after a 2-minute break, we'll be back to speak to Dwight. Take care and come back.
Don't go anywhere. There'll be more show right after these messages. Hi, I'm Keith Zalley, your announcer here at throughoureyes.org. I'd like to ask all our listeners who have not yet registered at Through Our Eyes to consider doing so. Registering helps us ascertain whom our listeners are, where they come from, if they are blind or visually impaired, as well as other important information which helps us guide us in providing programming that will meet our visitors' needs. I urge all our listeners to register today. It's free and only takes a minute to complete the process. Please read our privacy policy so you can be assured that the information you provide stays with us and only us, and you'll never get any unwanted emails.
You put your keys between your knuckles. You walk in well-lit areas. Someone approaches you and you grasp your cell phone tightly, ready at any second to dial the number for help. You lock the door behind you, once, twice, maybe 3 times. Now you feel safe, secure. You think you've made the right choices to protect yourself. Think again. Because if you're not making healthy choices, you could be one of the nearly 2 out of 3 women killed by cancer, diabetes, heart disease, or stroke. So eat right, get active, don't smoke, see your doctor, and live. Learn to protect yourself from yourself at 1-866-399-6789 or visit us at everydaychoices.org. A message from the American Cancer Society, American Diabetes Association, American Heart Association, and the Ad
The
Council.
audience at the Apollo is twice as likely.
The people at my family reunion are twice as likely.
My classmates at Morehouse College are twice as likely.
Many listeners to this radio station are twice as likely.
It's called the odds.
And the odds are African Americans are nearly twice as likely to suffer a stroke as white Americans.
There are steps you can take to help beat the odds. Start by calling 1-888-4-STROKE or go to strokeassociation.org. Join the power to end stroke. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Come with me, let's go.
And we're back. Our first guest on the phone is Dwight Sayer, who is the president of the National Association of Blind Veterans. Dwight, are you there?
Hey, Cheryl, I'm here.
I'm so glad to have you back on the show, and we're honoring our wonderful veterans tonight. Give us a little bit about who Dwight Sayer is, where you served, and how was the division started by you, or how long has the division been around?
Wow, that's going to be an interesting story. First off, let me say Monday is Veterans Day, and from all of the officers, board members, and members of the National Association of Blind Veterans, we want to say a big thank you to all our brother and sister veterans out there who have bravely served this great nation and in many cases put it all at risk. We also want to make sure that everybody thanks our active duty brothers and sisters that are serving as we speak, and make sure if you see them to thank them for their service, because it's because of our veterans and our active duty service personnel that we have the freedom and the ability to be on this radio show tonight and talking to all those good folks out there that are listening to us. So a big thank you from the NABV to all our brothers and sisters in the armed forces.
Well, we want to thank you as well. I mean, I'm a daughter of a Vietnam veteran. I have a granddaughter that's in the Marines, and right now she's stateside, but that, as we know, that can change any day of the week. Margo has been a chaplain. I don't know if she's not a veteran, but I know she is a chaplain. Margo, say hello to Dwight.
Hey, Dwight.
Hey, Margo, good to hear you.
Good to hear you too.
but we want to make sure that we're very proud of our veterans in any war that we've had since, 1776 to today, and just want to thank you, Dwight, as well. So, again, give us a little bit about the National Association of Blind Veterans and how maybe some veterans listening to the show tonight can reach out to you guys.
Absolutely. The first off, I'm an Air Force veteran, medically retired after losing my sight in 1969, and the National Association of Blind Veterans was formed by me with the help of some really great people, Jim Worley, Kevin Worley's father, and Joanne Wilson, and a bunch of other folks who assisted me in the initial meeting where we met and formed the association in 2005. And it was kind of formed, it was formed for a couple of reasons, but the first reason was that in 2004, when I attended National Convention, I was not bubbling with enthusiasm about the amount of patriotism that I saw at National Convention, given that we were doing it over 4th of July week. And so after convention, I had written Dr. Bauer a letter expressing my dismay about the lack of patriotism, and it wasn't long after that he wrote me a letter back and asked me what I was going to do about it. So he challenged me with a task of, number one, helping us to find our patriotic arm again, and bring more patriotism to the National Federation of the Blind and to our conventions as well. And in the same token, formed the National Association of Blind Veterans so that we could make sure we were not only being patriotic, but honoring all of our fellow blind veterans that have served us so well, and we're members of the National Federation of the Blind, and then hopefully reaching out to some of those that aren't. So that's how it came about.
Dwight, first of all, I have to say I've been going to national conventions since 2006, so I didn't know. I'm not sure if that's the first year it started, but I have to say, for those that are out there that are listening, whether you're NFB members or not, whether you're sighted or not, when you come to our national conventions, I have to say, next to, of course, Dr. Mauer's opening the general session and all the great speakers we have, from Father John singing the national anthem and having all the veterans in the audience that served in foreign wars, and everybody gets introduced and what rank they are and what if they're Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, you start crying because you're so proud. So you guys do such a great job. We're doing that at National Convention, and it's one of the highlights that I see at convention, and you do such a great job. So can you give out the email, phone number, etc. for the organization so people can reach out to you?
Absolutely. The National Association of Blind Veterans has a great website. It's at www.n as in national, A as in association, B as in blind, and V as in veteran.org. That's NABV.org. And that'll take you to to an incredibly nice website that will load you up with all kinds of information, tell you about our officers, tell you about programs available, tell you about the 3 great centers that we have providing boot camp for the blind. You name it, it's on the website. How to get a hold of us. My email address is very easy. It's president@nabv.org. And if you can't reach me there, you can certainly give me a shout out at 321-948-1466. That's 321-948-1466. And we're just now doing we just redid our brochure, and we printed 30,000 of them. That about I think 26,000 of them are going to be mailed to veterans all across the state of Florida. It's a membership campaign that we're working on, and we're it's an experiment because we've never done this before, but we're certainly interested in seeing how it turns out after mailing out some 26,000 brochures talking about the organization, what we do, and how we serve our brother vets, and we do lots of stuff. We primarily educate a lot of veterans that get in touch with us about how to exercise their benefits and how to reach out to those agencies that provide benefits to them, and how to stay persistent, as you might say, with some of those agencies that tend to not be too responsive right off the bat. And so, a lot of guys, we actually run into a lot of blind vets that don't even know they have benefits through the VA. So we're out there slugging away every day, educating and helping our brother vets not only receive the benefits that they deserve, but to help them stay persistent to get through the melees of red tape and things that are thrown at them in trying to access those benefits.
Well, especially with you bring up the different benefits that are available to the veterans. I know last year, while we were at the Washington seminar, and maybe you could bring all of us up to speed about the Equal Access to Air Traveler for Service Disabled Veterans, the HR 164 and the Senate 346. Give us a little history of it, and how far are we going, and do we need people calling into our senators and House of Representatives to get it pushed forward?
Well, here's the deal on what we're calling, it's our Space A bill. And what Space A is that military, active duty, retirees, and other sundry personnel who have been assigned a priority code have access to space when it's available on military aircraft if it's going in the general direction that they want to go. And for whatever reason, we're not sure why, but in all of those priority codes that they set out, which goes at some length, and in some instances even includes Boy Scouts and Red Cross workers. They left out 100% service-connected disabled veterans from having a priority code on military aircraft for space available. And a couple of senators tried several times to move a bill to correct that through our Congress in years past, and I don't think they were very committed to it. They were just doing it because it might have seemed like the right thing to do, but then they didn't have enough time to put the work forward to make it happen. And so when I brought this to Dr. Mauer's attention, he said, let me talk to our legislative guys and let's see what we could do. And sure enough, the NFB team, along with the National Association of Blind Veterans, got two bills introduced, HR 164 in the House of Representatives. That one has already passed the House and has been added to the Defense Reauthorization Act. So HR 164 is basically not totally done, but where we're needing focus now is on S 346, which is the Senate companion version of the bill. I think right now we have about 20 senator co-sponsors on board. We really need to get some more senators on board so that it's a done deal. John Perret and Anil Lewis think if we can get a few more senators signed up to co-sponsor S 346, that we might be able to actually wrap this thing up in this year's Defense Reauthorization Act. So I'm looking for all my brothers and sisters out there and veterans, active duty, members of the NFB, anybody that can help, to pick up the phone and call their senator in Washington and ask them to please sign on as a co-sponsor to Senate Bill 346. And if we get a few more senators signed on, that thing hopefully this year will be a done deal.
Dwight, this is Margo.
Yeah, Margo.
I'm wondering if you have contacted, say, DAV or other veterans groups because they're and seeing if they can come on board with this as well and maybe get more co-sponsors. Is this just an NFB project, or I'm wondering if other veterans groups could come aboard with it too?
We actually have several other veterans organizations that have agreed and are in favor of getting this passed. DAV is one of our biggest supporters. So we've got a number of organizations helping push this. One thing, it's really tough to get a bill introduced and passed in the same year. Mm-hmm. We're going to do it this year, and it's because of all of the support we've been getting from not only our organization, but the other veterans organizations out there, VFW and American Legion and DAV and our fellow brothers and sisters in arms. So, we're close. We just need a few more senators to sign on, and we'll have this thing wrapped up. So, please pick up your phone and call your senator and ask them to please sign on to S346.
And we'll have this information up on my website, the Echevarria Travel website, as well as my blog and on Facebook. So anything that is vitally important to anybody, whether it's the veterans here or anything that the NFB is doing, it will be posted on my blog, on the talk list of NFB, on my Facebook page. So we'll try to get as many people calling in as possible, Dwight.
We really appreciate it. It's just the right thing to do, and it's just amazing that it hadn't been taken care of in the past.
Do we know when the vote is up, when they go to vote on it, or not yet?
It's the idea is that if we can get enough Senate sponsors, that it will be added to the Senate version of the Defense Reauthorization Act, and they are suspecting that the act will be passed before the end of the year. Wonderful.
Let's all pray that we can get this done. And like Dwight said, next Monday is Veterans Day, so let's thank all our veterans out there. I know up here in New York, well, we're going to have a lot of veterans in New York City, and we try to go out by Eisenhower Park. There's a big veterans memorial out there. In fact, my father didn't pass away in Vietnam, but all his fellow brothers and sisters from his VVA chapter have memorials for those that passed away. So hopefully we'll be heading out to that park this weekend. Help put flags out, help, and just say, shake somebody's hand, give a veteran a hug. Remember, we wouldn't be here without them. Dwight, before we go, I just want to thank you again. If anything that the Echevarria Travel Show can help with getting the word out there about our veterans, whether it's traveling independently or just getting the word out to all our brothers and sisters who have fought to protect all of us, give me a call and we'll have you back on the show.
Cheryl, I thank you so much. God bless to you and your team and all of those that are out there listening to us. Yes, Monday's a very special day. Don't forget to thank a veteran, hug a veteran, give a veteran a big kiss. Whatever you want to do, make sure you run into a veteran. They know you appreciate them.
What are you planning on doing Monday yourself?
I'm going to be in Milwaukee, Wisconsin on Monday, and I'll be there for the week working on a transit project, and I'll be probably looking to find out where some veteran celebrations are going on when I get in on Monday, and see if I can't make myself available at whatever ceremonies they have going on.
Well, you got to head up my way one of these days, Dwight. We got a great veterans parade here in Brentwood. We got a great VFW hall out here by me. would love to introduce you to our local guys and to the Vietnam veterans out in Hicksville, where my dad belonged to. So come on out to Long Island and let's have you meet our guys out here and talk about the NABV.
You got a deal. I've been promising Father John Sheehan that I was going to get up to see him one day, so we'll have to see if we can't wrap that all together. So
that'll be great. Thank you again for coming on the show. Say hello to your wonderful wife, Patty, and we'll see you either in Washington, D.C. or at National Convention.
We'll see you at Washington Seminar, and thank you, Margo. It was great talking with you. You guys have a wonderful evening.
Thanks, Dwight.
We're not going to break yet, but when we do come back, Margo is going to be talking with Marion Gwizdala about the issues that she had and a number of other people had while going to National Convention with the airlines. I also wanted to mention that coming up in January, the National Federation of the Blind is heading to Washington, D.C. for our annual seminar. So stay tuned to my blog and see all the issues we're going to be talking about, and hopefully that you will support us and call your senators and assemblymen to support what the National Federation of the Blind is doing to make blind people more independent, helping out in education, as well as bringing awareness to everybody about blindness itself.
Cheryl, also we need to mention very quickly the new DOT accessibility steps that need to be taken. The accessible kiosks that airlines need to provide and airports need to provide, things like that.
Well, why don't you speak a little bit about that, Margo, since I haven't given you much time to talk about anything tonight.
Well, the main, the Department of Transportation is coming up with some regulations for accessibility, and the most important, well, one of the most important ones is that kiosks where you can go print out your boarding pass and do other things in the airports need to be accessible to all, meaning that when the regulations are followed, blind people will be able to walk up to a kiosk and do whatever a sighted person would do at that kiosk, including printing your boarding pass so you don't have to go to the ticket counter and stand in a line with 80 other people moving slowly, checking luggage. You can just get your boarding pass, go on to security, go on to the gate. So that's one of the important things. They're also talking about ways to store manual wheelchairs. So if anybody uses a manual wheelchair, they can strap them across the seats now, as well as store one in the closet. So there's just some, I'm still kind of perusing all the regulations, and I will hopefully be attending a webinar next week on that subject.
Well, when we come back, we're going for our 4-minute break. When we come back, we're going to have the president of the National Association of Guide Dog Users, Mr. Marion Gwizdala. So stay tuned, and remember, we're a live talk show. Call in, 1-888-572-0141. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Keith Zell, your announcer here at WTOE Radio Network. We're going to take a little bit long with this break to save our files for podcasts. So don't go anywhere, because there'll be more of the Echevarria Travel Show in just a bit.
Come with me, let's go.
How would you feel if your children went to school and weren't taught to read? What would the future hold for them? Today, a mere 10% of blind children are taught to read Braille. Literacy is a basic right, and with it, a blind person can become just about anything. With Braille, a blind person can read at the same rate as a sighted person. This opens doors to unlimited potential. Learning to read Braille is the key to success. Without it, a blind child doesn't have a chance. For more information on Braille literacy and blindness, please visit our website at www.nfb.org or contact me, Mark Maurer, President, National Federation of the Blind, 1800 Johnson Street, Baltimore, Maryland, 21230, or call us at 410-659-9314. The National Federation of the Blind. We are the voice of the nation's blind.
Melting polar ice was a dirty look. Shrinking glaciers, a nudge. Dying forests, they were a tap on the shoulder. We got a finger in our chest from the rising sea level, and a sharp poke in the ribs from recent wildfires in Alaska. Then dying coral reefs and eroding coastlines pushed us, hard. The drowned polar bears, that was a shove. Melting permafrost, that was a slap. Rising ocean temperatures and extreme weather, an uppercut. Then record-breaking heat waves hit us right where it hurts. Has it occurred to anyone that maybe the Earth is trying to get our attention?
We can still reduce greenhouse gas pollution before it's too late. To find out how, go to fightglobalwarming.com. Brought to you by Environmental Defense, the Robertson Foundation, and the Ad Council.
Imagine climbing the tallest mountain in the world without ever seeing the path in front of you. Imagine winning a television game show without ever seeing television. Blind people reach their dreams every day. Hello, I'm Mark Maurer, President of the National Federation of the Blind. With the proper training and opportunity, blind people become lawyers, professors, and chefs. We develop new technologies and support our communities. We own businesses and homes. We are mothers, fathers, and grandparents. We raise our children and worry about the bills. For more information on blindness, visit our website at www.nfb.org or contact me, Mark Maurer, National Federation of the Blind, 1800 Johnson Street, Baltimore, Maryland, 21230, or call 410-659-9314. We are the voice of the nation's blind.
Hi, I'm Judy. And my name is Johnny. We're 10 years old and we're blind. Our dreams are to become scientists.
My name is Catherine. I'm 24 years old and I'm blind. I'm currently in law school, and one day I dream of becoming an attorney.
My name is Bill. I'm 74 years old, and I've just become blind. My dream is to remain independent in my own home and not have to go to a nursing home just because I'm blind.
The National Federation of the Blind of New York has been helping blind people achieve their dreams since 1956. Help keep their dream machine running and visit blindnewyorkers.org to make a donation. You can also call them at 718-567-7821. Blind people are your neighbors and colleagues, so learn more about blindness and make your contribution today. Go to blindnewyorkers.org or call 718-567-7821. The National Federation of the Blind of New York. Today's dreams can become tomorrow's realities.
Come with me, let's go.
And we're back. We have a very big show tonight. And we just had Dwight Sayer on with the National Association of Blind Veterans. And now we have President Marion Gwizdala from the National Association of Guide Dog Users. Marion, are you there?
I am here.
I'm so happy you're here. Margo, say hello to Marion.
Hey, Marion.
Hi, Margo.
We are so happy to have you on the show. I know you were on the first time when I had Margo as my co-host. Now we have you all to ourselves for the rest of the half hour. We would like, first of all, to know all about Marion Gwizdala, a little bit of history of the National Association of Guide Dog Users, and then we'll go into some questions about the FAA and aircraft carrier and the airlines themselves.
Okay. All about me. Well, I am. I live in Tampa, Florida, where the high temperature was 80 degrees today. I have to say that and rub it into all the listeners who are not experiencing such wonderful weather.
Just like us.
I am a hypnotist in private practice doing behavior modification programs, and I'm the president of the National Association of Guide Dog Users, which is a strong and proud division of the National Federation of the Blind. I've been president, I think, since 2008. I'm not sure. It seems to me I was elected in 2006 as vice president, and then in 2008 I was elected as the president of the organization. We've been on the move quite a bit recently. In fact, let's see, what day was it? Monday, I think, Sunday or Monday, I participated in the first teleconference board meeting of the Colorado Association of Guide Dog Users. So we've got a brand new division. We're establishing NAGDU divisions in states right and left. And, of course, there's one in New York and New Jersey, and, oh, gosh, I'm going to forget them if I try to remember them all. There's I think, about 10 divisions right now, and 4 or 5 who are organizing, are in the committee phase, and will be organizing as divisions in the very near future. So looking forward to that, because that's the grassroots. That's where the real work of our organization is done. And we sponsor a hotline, of course, and we're going to be talking about that more during the show. But the NAGDU Information and Advocacy Hotline is a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week, 365 days a year hotline that you can call and listen to information about the rights and responsibilities of guide and other service animal users, and also have the opportunity to connect with a special advocate who's been trained to resolve access issues on the spot if such a thing happens to occur for you. And it's a very dynamic program, and I was just looking at the stats, and so far this year we have fielded over 1,400 calls to the hotline. So it's doing some good, valuable work, and I'm very proud of the organization and the members and the board of directors who make all of this come together and work well and make me look good.
Yes, and as you were mentioning, New York has a very strong division. In fact, Margo was our NIAGDU president. She's now vice president. Jessica Snyder has become our president here in New York, and I was elected to board member. So you have 2 members of the New York State Association of Guide Dog Users on the call with you. What I'd like to focus in tonight on is the recent issues that Margo and Julie Phillipson and Jessica experienced traveling to National Convention about, the I'm going to say uneducated airline employees or those that like to bully on the flights about, oh, you have to sit in the bulkhead area of the plane, and where that confusion comes from. So, Margo, I'm going to let you take over the conversation with Marion on this aspect. Margo?
Okay. Marion, first I'm going to just very quickly summarize what occurred for if anybody is listening who wasn't aware. Going to the National Convention of the NFB, National Federation of the Blind, in Orlando this summer, I and Julie Phillipson and Jessica had airline personnel, in fact it was the same personnel but different times of the day, who thought we should sit in the bulkhead and thought that if we sat anywhere else our dogs would block the aisles, and I was told nobody should sit next to me because my dog would be in the way and it would cause him to block the aisle. And they just didn't seem to be aware of the Air Carrier Access Act too much. And Southwest Airlines did kind of understand where we were coming from to a certain degree. Julie Phillipson and I actually met with the airline managers at the Buffalo Niagara International Airport where this originated. And the airlines, everybody came but Delta, but we weren't surprised. But the airlines people said that people just assume there's more room in the bulkhead, and there might be. And that, but that they understood that it was a choice. What we asked them to do was to educate their gate agents better, because the flight attendants will often get off the plane and go cry to the gate agent about the recalcitrant passenger they have, which was me, especially that morning. And so the gate agents need to be more educated. So the commitment was made by the airport to do that. I would like to encourage people to meet with their airline managers at the airports about travel issues, whether they be, even though the airline people only, managers only deal with ground issues. Those ground issues, the gate agents and other people need to be just as educated as the flight attendants should be about what the Air Carrier Access Act says. Marion, I'd like for you to talk about airline issues or any other travel issues that have to do with guide dogs that you can think of, hotels, whatever you want to talk about.
Okay. I fly quite frequently as well, and I've had very similar experiences as you. I remember one flight I went on. It was a short flight from Tampa to Jacksonville. I was on my way to my very first NFB convention, state convention, and I was traveling with a colleague of mine who was also a guide dog user, and we wanted to sit together, and we were told we couldn't sit together with our guide dogs because they needed to balance the plane. I was a little concerned when they said that, because I didn't think that 160 pounds difference on one side or the other of the plane was going to really make that much of a problem and cause the plane to be imbalanced. So that worried me a little bit. But what you say is true. We are not required to sit in any specific place. Sometimes bulkheads do have more room. Sometimes they don't. It depends upon the airplane and its configuration. Some planes have walls between first class and the coach. Southwest, for instance, well, they don't have first class and coach. They have all coach, but they still have a bulkhead, and that bulkhead generally is a wall. And but some of them just have curtains, and in those cases, there is more room. One plane that Mary and I flew on, Mary's my wife, for those who are listening, we flew when we went to our convention in Jacksonville, we flew on a plane that had two bulkheads. And when they said they were going to put us in the second bulkhead, we were a little concerned. But when we got on the plane and we saw what it was a huge plane. I don't know how many it sat, but it did have two bulkheads, but there was no wall in the second bulkhead. And when we sat in the seat, there was, oh, good grief, had to be 6 feet between us and the seat in front of us. So there was a lot of room there. But it was our choice as to where to sit. The only restrictions we have is that we can't be obstructing the traffic going up the aisle. So it is suggested, but not required, that we take one of the inside seats, either the window seat, or if there's three seats, either the window or the middle seat. Not because we have to, but just because it is possible that your dog's paw could stick out and somebody may not see it and step on it. And so it's more a consideration for other passengers and your dog. But if you keep a good eye on your dog and you make sure that his feet doesn't go out in the aisle, there's no reason why you can't sit in an aisle seat too if you prefer to do that. So these rules that are made up are just that. They tend to be rules that are made up as they go along. And one of the best things that we can do is, when those things happen, to, one, be very polite, because if you're not polite, you're going to create a wall between you and the person, bigger than the bulkhead wall, that you're not going to get the information you want, and ask what the person's name is. Many times we get angry and we forget to ask, rightfully so we get angry. We just forget to ask important questions like, who is it? Who's telling us this? Because then when we file a complaint, we don't know who to complain about. We go, well, the flight attendant on this flight, well, there's 2, 3, 4, depending upon the flights. There could be more flight attendants on the flight. So we want to know specifically who that person is. Now, the other thing is that, and Cheryl, you may be able to tell me, I was trying to find out what the exact title of this person is, but every airport has a person who's specifically trained to resolve issues of disability. I don't know exactly. I think it's like a customer service representative of some sort, but that person has a specific title. And you mentioned the gate, the people at the gate, and the people who are able to resolve problems while you're on the ground. And most of these problems, they arise while you're on the ground. It's very rare that you get a problem once you take off. It's usually once you get on the plane, you're still on the ground, that's when the problems occur. So, the best thing to do is to stay calm and to know what your rights are, but to be assertive, because if you know what your rights are and they tell you that it's something different, you certainly can present your case a little easier if you know what you're talking about, and as I said earlier, you stay calm. That's the most important thing.
Skype went out, but I was trying to say prior to what you were asking me about the titles of people at the airport. It's usually a different person. It's not usually the same title, but I was trying to bring up the fact that, at the airports now, especially with the TSA, they have a program in place called TSA Cares. Now, excuse me, I'm a little dry. That doesn't necessarily pertain with with the airlines itself. That has to deal with going through security. Hold on. I apologize.
You want me to put on Cheryl because it looks like you're ready to pass out.
Hold on, Margo, a second. I got to get some water.
TSA, I'll go ahead with TSA Cares. And Marion, I'd like you to talk about TSA in just a second, how to go through security. But TSA Cares is a program that you can call 72 hours ahead of time, 48, something like that. And I don't have the number in front of me. Cheryl probably does. But you can call them, and they can assist you through security. And Marion, I'm sure you have a few things to talk about, like the hand swipes and how to go through security the best way.
And then that's true. The TSA Cares only deals with TSA, and not with anything to do with the Air Carrier Access Act or the airlines. They are a part of Homeland Security, and they make sure that our air travel is safe. That being said, there's a couple of things to keep in mind when you're traveling with your guide dog. One is, as you're going through screening, and you're going to go through the metal detector, if you drop the leash and you call, this is what a lot of people do. They drop the leash, put the dog in a sit-stay, drop the leash, go through the metal detector, call the dog through. That's all well and good, but what happens is the dog, in most cases, with most harnesses, is going to set off the metal detector, and so the dog is going to have to go through some additional screening. And so they're going to do a pat-down of the dog. Here is a key issue. If when you call your dog through, if you touch your dog in any way, shape, or form after it comes through the metal detector, then you are going to be subject to additional screening as well, even if you don't set off the metal detector. So people, they reach down to grab the leash. As they reach down to grab the leash and the dog comes through, if they touch the dog, then the TSA agent is going to put you through additional pat-downs. So one of the best things to do is to put your dog at a sit-stay, go through, hold the end of the leash so you don't have to go looking for it, put it on a long leash, and then call the dog through. The hook at the end of most leashes is not sufficient enough, usually, to set off the metal detector. It's the amount of metal that's in the handle of the harness combined with the other snaps that's going to, but not just the snap at the end of the leash. Also, any passenger, service animal user or not, accompanied by an animal, in other words, even if it's your pet or your service animal, you go through TSA, they are going to go through and swipe your hands for trace explosive detection. There has been intelligence that shows that there is a credible threat from someone using an animal and explosives. And so when you go through, they're going to take a cloth, swipe your hand with it, and then they're going to put that through a trace explosive detector to see if there's any trace explosives on your hands. There's no chemical of any kind on that cloth. It is just a cloth that is designed to absorb the any trace explosives that may be on your hand.
Marion, before we continue, and I wanted to say one thing pertaining to what you just said as well. I use an insulin pump. Now, it may not just be somebody with a service animal, but anybody with any kind of external medical device like an insulin pump or something like that, they may do that as well, because they've done that to me. Lenny, our station manager, has a question for you. Lenny, go ahead.
Okay. It's a while back you were discussing something I'm just curious about. When you were talking, Marion, about airport, when the way that they deal with the blind or visually impaired while on an airplane. Now, I'm not blind, my wife is. But I'm very used to dogs, and I also know the capabilities. I would think, and I know for a fact, the average person doesn't even appreciate what a dog can do and how much help it really is. But that being said, when you talked about, well, if you're on the seat nearest the aisle and if the dog's in the way, I can understand why a person that isn't visually impaired would be concerned if a dog was between them and escape. So I can understand all that. I guess what I'm trying to get to is, with all your experience, have you found that there is one airline or one or two airlines that they're more apt to know what the heck is going on and what should be done versus another?
Well, no, I don't. I fly a lot, but I generally fly the same airlines, and I have not had the experiences that others have had with that airline, including what Margo just described, because I have a frequent flyer card with Southwest, and I fly Southwest a lot, and I have never experienced an issue with Southwest. That's not to discount the experiences that others have had. It's only to say I've not had an issue. Although the other airline that Margo mentioned earlier that didn't show up at the meeting, I did have two experiences with them on a flight to Colorado a few years back. I was going on a ski trip, and in both ways I had an issue with a flight attendant on Delta Airlines. And it was interesting. I was talking to my brother-in-law, because my whole family went. I was talking to my brother-in-law about some of the ways that blind people are treated on airlines, and he says, "Oh, really? Those sorts of things happen? I just can't believe it happened." And as I'm going through the gate, I was carrying my guitar, and they put a ticket on my guitar. Well, first I got to the gate, and they said they asked my brother-in-law for my ticket, and he said, "I don't have his ticket. He's got his ticket. I'm standing with it in my hand." Then we went through the gate, and they gate checked my guitar, and they handed my sister my gate check. And my brother-in-law looked at me and said, "Well, I guess you're right. People do treat you differently because you're blind."
Yeah, well, I mean, personally, people talk to me. I take my wife to go get makeup, and the girl asks me about her makeup. You know, it's my wife that's getting the makeup, not me. I'm fine. I don't need makeup. No.
Right.
All right. But thank you very much.
I tell this story a lot. I was at a restaurant one time with my daughter when she was 5 years old, and the waitress looked at her and said, "Well, what would he like to drink?" And she looked at her, and she was raised in the Federation. She looked at the waiter and waitress and said, "I don't know. You have to ask him. I'm only 5."
Yeah, we get that a lot. Marion, we got about 5 minutes left of the show. Why don't you talk about the call in the helpline for NAGDU?
Oh, yes. The NAGDU Information and Advocacy Hotline. Rather than tell you what it does, I'll just let people experience it. Again, it's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It was established by a grant from the National Federation of the Blind Imagination Fund, and is supported through the efforts of the California and Florida Associations of Guide Dog Users and a company called Twilio, which just gave us a $500 grant to pay for the service itself. The number's really easy. It's 800. No, it's not 800. It's 888 888 NAGDU 411 888 NAGDU 411, which translates to 888-624-3841. The last number is extraneous because it's an eighth number, or I guess 11th number. So give it a call, use it, listen to what's there, and let other people know about it too. And there's a lot of great information about service animals and guide dogs and the rights and responsibilities of guide dog users in places of public accommodation, including restaurants and taxi cabs and hotels and air carriers, which are governed by the Air Carrier Access Act. So call it, listen, and that's what's going to help us maintain our good funding, is when people use it and we get all these calls to it.
Well, Marion, I appreciate you coming on the show. I think we lost Margo a little while ago, but I want to thank you again for coming on the show. I look to have you on the show in the future, because traveling independently, whether it's a cane or a guide dog or a sighted guide, I'll be having you on again as a guest with any travel-related issues, or if you want to discuss anything related to traveling with a guide dog, we'll be having you back on the show.
Very good.
I look forward to talking to you soon. I look forward to talking to you soon, and have a great night, and thank you again for coming on.
Thank you very much. Keep up the good work up there in New York. Y'all are doing a fine, fine job. All y'all are.
Thank you, Marion.
Thank you.
Take care.
And Margo, I want to say thank you again for being my co-host. We
Oh,
will
I love
see
it.
you guys. We'll see everybody in December, and we'll be talking all about the Travel and Tourism's first fundraiser show, fundraiser trip that we did. So we'll be having officers from the NFB Travel and Tourism on the call, and people that actually went on the trip. So thank you again for listening in tonight, and listen to all our shows that air 8 o'clock on Wednesday nights. And thank you again, Lenny. Have a great night, everybody.
The Echevarria Travel Show is brought to you by Echevarria Travel, home of the independent traveler since 2009, specializing in worldwide destinations for the blind community. For more information on Echevarria Travel, call Cheryl at 631-456-5394 or email her at reservations@echevarriatravel.com. All words, ideas, and contents expressed on this show are those of Cheryl Echevarria and not necessarily those of the National Federation of the Blind, the Northeast New Jersey chapter, or the WTOE Internet Radio Network. Until next time, I'm Keith Zalley.
Cruise like a Norwegian.
Hi, this is Joe Ruffalo of WTOE Radio. If you are a resident in New Jersey and would like to join one of our chapters or have some more information about our chapters, please contact me at 973-743-0075 or email me at nfbnj@yahoo.com.
Advertise your events on internet radio and podcasts free. Need to advertise your club or organization's next event? Whether it's one announcement or different ones weekly or monthly, now you can. ThroughOurEyes.org, using our WTOE Radio Live broadcast and our podcast, give you the ears of the world. You can take advantage of our free offer in one of two ways: recording your announcement on your computer or calling our toll-free telephone number. Visit our website to learn more. Are you stuck in front of your computer listening to our shows? Well, you may be happy to know that you don't have to be anymore. Hi, this is Keith Zalley, your announcer here at WTOE Radio. Of course, you know we broadcast live on ThroughOurEyes.org, but did you know we simulcast on Facebook, Ustream.tv, as well as all of our show's host websites? And now you don't have to be stuck trying to catch your favorite show on your computer. You can listen or even watch our shows live right on your smartphone or iPad. During broadcast nights, just point your phone or iPad browser to our mobile site, m.throughOurEyes.org, and click on the Listen or Watch Live link. WTOE also offers many smart apps for your iPhone, BlackBerry, Android, Windows Mobile, or Nokia phones, iPads too, all for free. Visit our main site, www.throughoureyees.org/appstores.html, and download your free app today. Hi, I'm Keith Zalley, your announcer here at ThroughOurEyes.org. Thanks for tuning in to WTOE Radio's live broadcast. Our recording session will start shortly. While you are waiting, I'd like to ask all our listeners who have not yet registered at Through Our Eyes to consider doing so. Registering helps us ascertain whom our listeners are, where they come from, if they are blind or visually impaired, as well as other important information which helps us guide us in providing programming that will meet our visitors' needs. I urge all our listeners to register today. It's free and only takes a minute to complete the process. Please read our privacy policy so you can be assured that the information you provide stays with us and only us, and you'll never get any unwanted emails. Well, we're almost ready to begin. Since what you are about to listen to is live, after each recording of the show, you'll hear approximately 15 minutes of music. This is the time we are contacting our next guest for the next show. When the show starts, you'll hear it in its entirety. Our recording sessions usually comprise 3 separate shows, each about 15 to 20 minutes in length, with approximately 15 minutes between each session. So once again, thanks for listening to WTOE Radio Live. Our recording session will start momentarily. I'm Keith Zalley. Hi, I'm Keith Zalley, your announcer here at throughoureyes.org. Thanks for tuning in to WTOE Radio's live broadcast. Our recording session will start shortly. While you are waiting, I'd like to ask all our listeners who have not yet registered at Through Our Eyes to consider doing so. Registering helps us ascertain whom our listeners are, where they come from, if they are blind or visually impaired, as well as other important information which helps us guide us in providing programming that will meet our visitors' needs. I urge all our listeners to register today. It's free and only takes a minute to complete the process. Please read our privacy policy so you can be assured that the information you provide stays with us and only us, and you'll never get any unwanted emails. Since what you are about to listen to is live, after each recording of the show, you'll hear approximately 15 minutes of music. This is the time we are contacting our next guest for the next show. When the show starts, you'll hear it in its entirety. Our recording sessions usually comprise 3 separate shows, each about 15 to 20 minutes in length, but approximately 15 minutes between each session. So once again, thanks for listening to WTOE Radio Live.
Welcome to Stepping Forward, an engaging, no-nonsense approach to life's problems with your host, licensed clinical psychologist Tamara White. Let Tamara's keen wit and straightforward delivery help make sense out of life's complex issues such as child rearing, sex education in adulthood, dealing with the elderly, and so much more. Tamara will inspire, motivate, and amuse you while dealing with real-world scenarios. And now, here's Tamara.
Hey everyone, good to see you. Thank you for showing up this month. So we're into November and we're getting ready for the holiday season. It seems like it's come super fast. And so I was trying to decide what we all should talk about this month. And I had a lot of things that within my practice, I wanted to kind of keep up with the theme. And the theme of my practice this last, 2 months has been people trying to keep up with the Joneses and such. And this goes all the way down to our kiddos. So anywhere from kids to teenagers to adults, we're going to kind of talk about how media influences all of this, as it does myself, and what we can do in order to kind of prevent that and go against that, but at the same time acknowledge that this is really happening, because I have a lot of people who don't want to admit that this is really the case, even though it is. And we need to talk about everything that's going on, because I see the same commercials you guys see. I see the same magazine articles you guys see. I see everything like that. So we kind of need to take a look at this and realize that it is what it is. Let's take a stand on it. Let's make a judgment call on it and see what we can do with that. So having said all of that, I have kind of prepared this entire next 55 minutes based on what we should talk about and how you and I can relate differently to what is being thrown in our face all the time. I think this is going to be fun. I really do. This is a lot of information, like I said before, that you guys see on a daily basis and you hear about. So let's go ahead and try to take a stand on that. And let me help you decipher it, and let me help you understand what your step needs to be in order to do this. So before we get started, let's go unended right here. So I'm going to take my first commercial break really quickly. Let's get this over with, and then we are going to go straight into all of this. All right? So again, if you have questions, if you want to throw in your own thoughts or anger or anything like that, throw it out there. Here's the number at the bottom of your screen. If you have anything you want to talk about, please let me know. Otherwise, let's take a quick break and let's go straight into it, okay? All right, talk to you in a
few. Stay right where you are. Tamara will be right back.
Remember the time you almost volunteered to work in a soup kitchen? Or when you almost visited the Veterans Hospital? Or when you almost brought dinner to your neighbor with AIDS? Remember all the times you almost helped, almost gave? Well, it's only human, this almost giving. But the truth is, it's the same as not giving at all. Don't almost give, give. Visit our website at don'talmostgive.org. A message from the Ad Council.
If you think depression is all in a person's head, you're right. It's a brain illness. And like other illnesses, it has symptoms. A person suffering from depression might feel sad, empty, or numb. They might sleep more or less, eat a lot or not at all, or show little interest in participating in ordinary activities. Mood swings, including anger and sadness, are common. They're often tired, and have a hard time concentrating or making decisions. Depression can make those who suffer from it feel hopeless. It can even lead to suicide. If you see the symptoms of depression, get that person to a doctor. With medical help, depression can be treated and suicide can be prevented. Learn how to stop depression from taking another life. Call SAVE, Suicide Awareness Voices of Education, 1-888-511-SAVE, on the web at save.org.
I can listen. I can cook.
Good. I can coach.
Kids with something to do are less likely to do drugs.
I can drive.
I can paint.
I can dance.
A little of your time can make a lifetime of difference.
I can read.
I can help.
You can help. Call toll-free 1-877-KIDS-313 to find out about community drug prevention programs.
I can keep a kid off drugs.
And now, back to Stepping Forward. Here's Tamra.
Hey, okay, so thanks for coming back. So I'm going to ask Len to put up our first kind of topic for the night. All right. Okay, well, all right. So there you go. All right, so here's where I came up with this. All right, so this is why I wanted to talk about this tonight. I've told you guys a lot. If you know me at all, I've met with you for, I guess, the last 11 months. So you all know that I have a now 7-year-old who, my little one. So I'm looking at this picture. But I also have a 20-year-old and a 20-year-old girl, and I have a 17-year-old boy. So it's super important to me that we all talk about what, you know, self-image looks like, right? So I just saw this article on the Today Show, and in which someone was completely re-examined and retouched, I guess is the best way to say it. So the girl on the right was retouched to be the girl on the left. It's the same person. It's the absolute same person. And Photoshop, photo touching, all of this kind of thing is what they did for this. But having given this to a group of teenagers, here's what they said. All right, so they say the girl on the right looks lazy. She looks insecure. Obviously undisciplined, because if you were disciplined, you would not have this extra baggage, right? And the girl on the left, here's kind of the anti things about that was that she was ambitious rather than insecure. But at the same time, look at the top corner. I said she was vain, conceited, superficial. And so here's what I want to ask you all. How do we win? How do we win? So if you're thin and good looking, you're vain and superficial. And if you are not as thin, then you're lazy and non-ambitious. So what do you all think? I mean, I feel like we are so judgmental that I deal with this on a day-to-day basis that I even have a hard time trying to figure this one out myself, because, you know, I guess I deal with both spectrums of this. So the reason I'm bringing this up tonight, and the reason that I thought that this would be a good programming note, is because I want to look at what society is viewing for us, okay, and how much a media influence is impacted on us. because I will be the very first one to tell you, my daily ritual begins with coffee and the news. And that's all there is to it. I want to know what's going on. And so I pretty much believe everything that's been told to me. So here we go. So before this month is over, I just saw on the news just this morning, we've had 185 deaths. And I'm pretty sure like 15 to 18 mass killings, which is like a mass shooting rather than some kind of a going in 2 or 3 at a time. It's a mass shooting, which is anything more than 4. So we've had that over the course of the year. So I do want to talk about this, and I want to hear you guys' views on this and where this comes from, and kind of want to talk about it. So, all right. So that was my first slide. Let's see what we have next. Okay, so here we start talking about politics, right? And it says, I am hungry, stop talking about politics. Here's the deal, is everyone is so concerned about talking about what is going on because they are so afraid that it is politically incorrect, right? You all hear this, you know this. PC is kind of the norm of if you should say this, if you shouldn't say this. Even if you go and have lunch with your friends, it's like, are these the people, I mean, how do they feel about this? How do they vote about this? And so on. And here's something that we really need to come to terms with is that politics are taken up our everyday basis, but we all need to have the guts and the decision-making openness to say this is not okay with us and this is not what we want to talk about and such. But look, politics come up in everything we say, and we're going to look at that in just a minute. But politics are what they are. We are what we are. We believe what we do, and we happen to be at the time frame that everything sounds political. So even if you're trying to do the right thing, it sounds political. It just does. And so we have to work towards trying to kind of isolate ourselves from that mindset. All right. The next one. Do we have something else, Lynn? All right. So here's a part of it is healthcare reform. All right. So I kind of put this in my blurb about what tonight's conversation was going to be about. So healthcare reform is a part of the politics. Yes, it is. But at the same time, it's a part of what social media tells us, right? It's about what the news is telling us it's going to be. It's about what our friends are telling us it's going to be. It's about what Facebook is telling us it's going to be. And, you know, we kind of put all of our eggs in this, like I was telling you earlier. So we have this healthcare reform, and we say, hey, everything is going to be great. And I have to tell you, with or without Obama, we don't even have to go there. But what I do want to say is my older children and I are without health care, without any kind of insurance. So having said that, I am completely open to and wanting to better our lives. So yeah, I'm one of the bajillion people who tried to get onto the healthcare.gov website and could get to about 3 or 4 steps, and then everything closed down. So yeah, not there yet. But again, did this change kind of our lives? I mean, do you feel like if we chose and voted for someone based on healthcare reform that was a good choice, or do you feel like we went against it because it wasn't? I mean, here's kind of the thing now is that you kind of have to know where you stand. And this is what I've talked about time and time and time again, is we have to know where we stand with or without the things going our way, right? So our healthcare reform is just one of the major issues that I'm talking about when I'm talking about this social media. You only know anything that you know about healthcare reform and quote Obamacare and quote this and this because this has been told to you by television, radio, however, internet, your phone, whatever it is, it's all been told to you by this way. And so then we go back and we say, do you trust those people? And why do we trust those people? And where that come from? And such. So this is something that's kind of near and dear to my heart, because as I have made that very clear before, I have two older ones. We have nothing as far as insurance goes. And my little one does, thank goodness. So I have to figure out what do we need to do and what the next step is. All right. Yeah, what's up? So I have a question. Okay. And let me answer the question. What's the question?
My question is, how does it work with you being the licensed clinical psychologist and you accepting insurance from clients? Have you gotten, I'm going to use the word screwed, like a lot of other doctors have?
Okay, so here's pretty much the question. So the question says...
They heard me. I'm on the air. They heard me.
Oh, they heard you. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Quite honestly, the bottom line is, yeah, I get screwed. And I'm going to be in the near future as well. Because here's the deal, is a lot of people who have great benefits and a lot of insurance companies are about to lose those great benefits. And by you all losing those great benefits, then your providers are going to lose those benefits, which I'm a provider and I'm going to lose those benefits. So what's going to have to happen is we are going to have to take cash payments at a very low cost in order to keep going. No, this may be beneficial for some of us who don't have insurance, but it's not going to be beneficial, in my opinion, to those of us who are taking insurance. We are going to lose a lot. And if we could spend this entire hour talking about mental health and what that looks like, I could do that. We could totally look at just what mental health and mental health benefits look like. Does that answer that?
Yeah, that's good. I wanted to know if it affected you as well as the other side. I mean, that's what we're hearing a lot of in the news.
Yeah, it's gonna affect us, but you know what? To be quite honest, nobody's gonna tell you that it's gonna affect mental health, because right now everybody's scared to death about mental health, as they should be. And let me, as a disclaimer, this isn't even on my agenda, but let me say this anyway, as a disclaimer about mental health. Mental health should be a huge topic right now. And what mental health looks like in people's minds, and think about this for yourself. If you're listening to this, think about if I say, hey, do you know someone who is having mental health issues? Think about that for a second. And I would challenge you to ask, is that they're schizophrenic, that they're out of their damn minds, or they're not thinking clearly, or they're whatever. And I want to tell you that mental health defined issues is simply someone having depression or anxiety and a lot of us, not everyone, a lot of us, myself included, could be categorized in that way, that we've been there, done that, had a bad time, things didn't go well. But everyone in the outside world or the outside population seems to feel that mental health is some kind of a voices talking to you and crazy ass shit going on all the time. And that's not how it is. What it is mental health can something be simply, I can't deal with this. I'm having a bad day. I don't know how to deal with it. I don't want to go into this store. It is creeping me out, and on and on and on. So when we have these huge catastrophes like we had at the naval base and, you know, at the mall and all these kind of things, yeah, but they weren't schizophrenic. They weren't just hearing voices. They were out of their mind, based in depression, and had some kind of a psychotic episode. And the reason that I bring this up is because for the most part, they're normal, but they had a bad day. And I know that sounds so trivial, but these people are not crazy as you would think for days and days and days and days. They had a bad day. And that's why we have to be so aware of this and what's going on with our friends and our family. A lot of family members have gone on to harm other family members because they had a bad day. I live in the Dallas area. I am so sad to tell you that this happens very, very often, that someone got broken up with, didn't want to deal with it, killed his wife. And then people are like, oh my God, I don't know where this came from. And I want to tell you, it's mental health. And it's not that he had to be sick for months and months and months. What it is that he was unable to handle the emotional distress at the time that it occurred. And that is what we all need to be talking about. And no one talks about that because mental health seems crazy and scary, and we need to get past that. So that's my little outside discussion. All right. So here's the deal. We have lots to talk about tonight. I want to keep talking about this. I want to talk about, I have more. I want to talk about what your thoughts are. What is mental health? I see this every day in television. We could go as far back. Here's what I'm thinking happens. When I talk to someone in my practice and they say, you know, feeling super depressed and couldn't, you know what they wanted to talk to me about? Charles Manson and all the people involved with Charles Manson and how crazy ass they were. And I will say, yep, yes, 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 yes. But you don't have to be that far gone in order for it to be a mental health issue. All right. You don't have to need to kill someone or actually kill someone or hide something or have these feelings. Mental health, like I told you before, can be as benign as feeling depressed that you can get over, or anxiety that you can't walk through a situation and be okay with that. Or yeah, it could be something that you think, what the heck is going on right now? And the reason I showed you that picture earlier about body image is because that is a big deal. Body image is a part of that. Our girls are led to believe that this is what is expected. This is what it's supposed to look like. And this is what we think teenage girls should be. We've all been there. We've all been there. And again, you'll hear about Emma, my little one, a lot. But I also have a 20-year-old, and it breaks my heart to think that she thinks, if she were to think, that she is supposed to be this ideal weight and hide and all this image because magazines say so. Especially when they have a good friend in the modeling business and they see what it looks like. I have a good friend who is 5'11", 115 pounds, and went on or in a magazine. She looks at least 100 pounds. All of her flaws are covered, including her freckles, and even her hair is highlight. So I'm like, what are we doing to our kids right now, right? Now, I'm not going to keep her from that because she gets paid a very good dollar in order to do so. So, all right, let's take a break and we're going to come back and we're going to talk about more. Okay?
Hi, this is Michelle Paulette from WTOE Radio. We're going to take a few extra minutes while we save our files for podcast, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back in 4 short minutes.
Amber Alert, abducted child, African-American girl, 6 years old. Suspect, Caucasian male, 30 to 35, 6 feet, 180 pounds, wearing blue shirt, black jeans.
Now when an Amber Alert is issued,
White van, out-of-state license, X-ray 687 Charlie.
you can get the same information the authorities get right on your cell phone. Sign up for free at wirelessamberalerts.org. When an Amber Alert is issued in the areas you've chosen, you'll receive a free text message. If you spot the vehicle, the suspect, or the child described in the alert, call 911. Sign up today at wirelessamberalerts.org. Think of it. Something as simple as a free text message could free an abducted child.
All units, Amber Alert canceled. Child recovered safely. Suspect is in custody. Repeat, Amber Alert canceled.
wirelessamberalerts.org. A child is calling for help. This message brought to you by the Wireless Foundation, the U.S. Department of Justice, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and the Ad Council.
They're gonna jump out of trees. They'll go down the slide head first. They'll make parachutes out of sheets. They'll balance on things that are impossible to balance on, like the back of a couch. They'll run with sharp objects. They'll climb things that won't hold their weight. They'll put their fingers in places where they could get smashed. They'll drive their tricycles down steep hills. They'll bounce balls off their faces. They'll step on each other. They'll jump on each other. They'll invent whole new ways to put themselves in jeopardy. But one of the most dangerous things kids will do happens while they're sitting perfectly still. Kids who ride in a car without a booster seat are much more likely to suffer serious or fatal injury during a crash than kids in boosters. But amazingly, 80% of all kids who need them aren't in them. After a toddler seat and until they're 4'9", booster kids, and don't let them down.
Go to boosterseat.gov to learn more about the importance of boosters. A message from the U.S. Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
Hey, Jack, you got a sec?
Yeah, sure, come on in.
Yeah, I was wondering if you... Jack, your hair's on fire.
Yeah, I know. I just need to finish this sales report, and then I'll probably, I don't know, let me lie down for a bit. But I'm sure it'll go away.
But the flames are getting bigger. Shouldn't I... Your hair, there's so much fire.
No, I'll be fine. What can I help you with? Oh, dear. Well, at least we know the sprinkler system works.
You wouldn't ignore this, so why ignore the signs of a stroke? If you or someone you know suddenly experiences numbness of the face, arm, or leg, or sudden trouble speaking, seeing, or walking, don't wait to get help. Call 911 right away, because time lost is brain lost. To find out more, visit www.strokeassociation.org or call 1-888-4STROKE. This message brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Have you ever lost a cat? And have you ever wanted to get your cat back after you lost it? Hi there, I'm Andrew Hoffman. I went on this website called inventnow.org. Then I decided to make an invention of my own. It's called the Lost Cat Magnet Invention. So you can get your cat back after you lost it. Just turn it on, and lost cats stick to it. That's a good cat. If your cat was hiding up in a tree, it won't be up a tree anymore. It will be stuck to the lost cat magnet. And sometimes they fly toward you in the air. Just listen to one satisfied cat. See, that's proof. You should go to the inventnow.org website too. But just remember one thing, don't do a lost cat magnet.
anything's possible. Keep thinking. Get started on your own inventions or just play some games at inventnow.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, the National Inventors Hall of Fame Foundation, and the Ad Council.
And now, back to Stepping Forward. Here's Tamra.
Shit, what's next? Hey, okay, welcome back. So, all right. So here's the deal. We've been talking about social media and what kind of an effect it has on us, and what kind of an effect it has on our family and our systems. So let me let you take a look at this next thing. You got this? All right, Capital One. All right, so here's the deal with this, and you may or may not be familiar with this. These are just commercials that we get all the time, all right? So Capital One happens to be a commercial that Alec Baldwin is very well known for, and what's in your wallet, and that's kind of how it happens. And here recently in the last couple of weeks, there's been a commercial of Capital One with Samuel Jackson, and at the very end he says, you know, we're going to do this every damn day. And while I couldn't care less, because that word is pretty common in my household, I do care if I'm not the one saying it. I do care if my family is not the one saying it and my daughter is hearing this. So this is on a Nickelodeon, a Disney Channel, PBS, any channel that you can think of that you think is a normal, everyday kind of situation. It's a Capital One commercial, and Samuel Jackson is going through and he's saying, here's what I do, and this is blah, 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 kudo, karate kind of shit, crap. And then he says, every damn day. All right. So I have an issue with that. Let me tell you my issue. My issue is that if someone is going to say, damn, then it's going to be me. And if someone is going to curse in my home, it's going to be me. And if it's going to happen during a stinking Good Luck Charlie episode or any other Disney or Nickelodeon episode, it's going to be me. So that's the issue I had. So I, probably, I would imagine, a lot of parents thought that this was not okay. And I'm one of those people that I say, hey, if you have an issue, just don't sit and complain about it. Do something about it. So I wrote a letter, no surprise there, to the Consumer Affairs and Capital One, and kind of told them how I felt about it. May or may not have been as nice as it could have been. And whatever. So I sent it, and I said, this is not okay. This is not okay with me. This is not okay with my family. This is not okay that you want to talk like this. I am so sorry that you think you're so cool, that you can say this kind of language. In the past, I think you have stinking funny commercials, but now I don't, because that's just what happened. So if you thought that anything you said in the past was so hilarious, it's now been taken down a notch or 2 or 18, because this isn't okay with me. All right. So I sent this about a week ago. Nothing comes from this. I get this, but I feel like it does, just because I verbalized it and tell my kids, hey, we have to stand by what we feel and blah, 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 blah. All right. So here's the deal. The commercial now says, instead of every damn day, it says every single day. Should I take full credit for this? Did I save the world? Yeah, I probably do. I was probably one of hundreds who said, are you out of your damn mind? What are you doing right now? This is not something that is acceptable. This is not something that... Seriously, are you okay with this? So I was one of those, I'm sure. But I did say it, and I did fight it, and I did jump on it, and it no longer has what I was concerned about in the first place. So what's the point of all this? The point is, what I was telling you about this entire topic about is that social media, we are not, or media in general, we are not okay with everything that is presented to us. And if you are not okay with it, then you have a voice. And here's the awesome thing about this, is that there's a way. If it's on internet, or if it's a phone call, or an email, whatever you need to do, please reach out, because I am the very first one to say, I am as nice as you can predict. I am the nicest person you will ever meet. But I'm telling you, if you're wrong, then you're wrong, and you're wrong all day long. And I will tell you that. And if I am wrong for telling you that, you are more than welcome to reciprocate the favor. So, I just want to let you know. So, the deal with Capital One and commercials like that, then we need to take a stand. Because enough people took a stand, then they changed something which had become so benign to say, and it is. I mean, I think in the overall world, it's really benign to say, hey, every damn day. But if you're going to interrupt my kid's little Nickelodeon show or Disney Channel show and say this, then I think you've gone into uncharted territories. And so if that's the case, and it bothers you, then we all need to take a stand, right? And so that's what we do. And that's what we did. And so let's just take credit for saying that Samuel Jackson no longer says every damn day. So when you see that tomorrow, a bajillion times, because you will, because now I feel like they're like overcompensating for it, know that someone took a stand and said, hey, I'm not okay with that. So, all right, next one. Let's see what we got next. Oh, all right. So if you look at this long enough, it's going to drive you crazy. It's going to cross your eyes. So here's some television shows, right? So again, the whole topic this month has been about media, and what do we get from that? So back in the day, we got like Leave It to Beaver, and Eddie Haskell, and what a like little ass he probably was, but he seemed so good. And we had all kinds of things like that, right? Donna Reed, Dobie Gillis. Let me tell you, Father knows best. I am the biggest nerd of shows back in the day as you will ever meet. But here's the reality, is that even then, we learned something from that, and we took it to what we are now. So, we are no longer Donna Reed. We are no longer Father Knows Best. We are no longer all of these things. But we still pull from that. We still learn. I teach criminal justice in a university. I still hear CSI questions all the time. People are like, well, what about this? And what about this? And it all comes from TV shows, and they're asking questions, and how quickly can this get discovered, and how quickly can this get fixed, or even situations, and they're like love-hate relationships. They're like, okay, well, if he just did this, then everything's going to be okay. And I'm just like, that's just not how it happens. But everyone seems to think if this is how it is on television, then this is how it goes. And it's important to me that we all discuss and have this great working knowledge that television doesn't fix everything. Even, and the 60 Minutes, CSI, 60 Minutes, no one fixes things. No one comes up with a crime scene. No one solves the crime scene. And definitely no one is incarcerated and gone to jury within this time frame. So I feel like the reason that I'm bringing this up is I want us all to be very realistic, right? I talk to my patients about this every day, is like, this is a great idea. It's a great idea what you want for your future. It's a great idea of how you want things to progress. Now, let's put it in a very logical, rational time frame that is realistic. Because if you just meet someone and you expect him to be a certain way, then you're going to be disappointed. You just are. By the same token, girl or guy, you just are if you deal with it in that way. By the same token, not everything is going to be bad either, just because you see only bad things. Here's the thing, is if we could all live more realistically and quit thinking that everything was good versus bad, we would do much better, trust me. I talk about every day in my private practice, black, white, good versus bad. Not everything is good, not everything is bad, not everything is black, not everything is white. There is a huge component of just gray that nobody really wants to sit and talk about. I talk about, he's really a good guy or he's really a terrible guy. Nobody talks about in between or what's going on in between. And we all need to kind of focus on that. We need to focus on the gray area rather than the black or white only. All right. I'm almost done with you all, so I'm almost done lecturing for the night. Do I have something else? I think I have something else for you. Oh, all right. Sorry, everyone. Nobody's going to like me for this. So I have this huge issue with these video games. Huge issue with these video games. And let me tell you why. Grand Theft Auto 5. Of all things. All right, so I told you all, I've been in private practice for 14 years. I have seen things when Nintendo was cool, right? So I'm with the time, so I'm not like some lame, I don't know what the heck is going on. So I do understand this, but having said all of that, let me tell you what. Okay, so I teach criminal justice at a university and blah, blah, blah. All right, so there's been a lot of defenses that will say, hey, he or she, mainly he or she was playing this video game, they killed people, the people got right up, they didn't realize it was like death to the end, they thought it was just kind of, game-like. People in Columbine even said that about the two boys who killed so many students, and they would say, well, they were playing video games and they didn't realize the extent of what the problem was. And you know what? That's just simply not the case. It's just not. However, that doesn't mean that this adds to this in any way, shape, or form. These games contribute. I'm not saying that these kids don't know better, because I think they do, or I think they should, or I think that there's some parental involvement in all of this. But at the same time, this Grand Theft Auto 5, you guys know, I told y'all, I have a private practice. I have teenagers that come see me all the time, and they are super excited that this was coming out. And here's what happens from that. They're like, oh my God, I can't wait. And this. So I finally got it. And I'm like, okay, let me see what the heck happens. Not only can you have a prostitute, you can kill a prostitute. You can then hide the prostitute. You can kill the cop who's hunting you down, and on and on and on and on. And now, people will say to me, and parents will say, okay, Tamara, are you seriously telling me that my kid is going to kill someone because they can in this game? And that's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is it makes you very immune and kind of disregard the reality of our law enforcement and what prostitutes and all of these things are. Prostitute or not prostitute, it's a real life person. And this is really happening to a real life person. And so, yeah, I have a huge issue with this. And this comes up at least weekly with my practice. This is something that if you are okay in your home and you're okay doing these things in your home, while I don't say that you're going to do this outside of it, I do feel like you're going to be a little less, I guess, empathetic, a little less empathetic to what may go on in the world around you. Desensitized, good one, yay. You're going to be very desensitized to what's going on around you. So if you're seeing this on a day-to-day basis, then it's really no big deal to you, right? I mean, obviously, they made a video game about it, so it shouldn't really affect you that much. Well, that's what I'm getting. That's what a lot of kids are telling me. So, again, I just want to end with all of this with you guys. I know that there is a lot of worldly stuff coming at you and your children all the time. And I really do think it comes back to all of us, myself included, that we have to say, wait, where are we right now? How do we feel about this? And the problem that I think everyone has is that we all think, wait, what is going on? And they tend to make it a group decision rather than an individual decision. Okay, so people tend to think, well, you know, here's what my friends are thinking, here's what the group is thinking, I've talked to this girl and here's what she thinks about this or he thinks about this. And I just want to say that we need to make it all come down to, as parents, what we all think. And y'all know how I feel about this. I've been pretty clear. So do I need to bring sweet little Emma Grace in here, who is the most perfect thing ever? Len, do I need that? Is that what I need? Okay. So y'all know how I do. If we are still on this show in 7 years from now and she tries to do marijuana, I'm sure it's because someone like forced it down her throat. But as of right now, let's all try to focus on ourselves and quit blaming everyone else for everything. But at the same time, if you feel something with the media, take a stand. Take a stand. I have no doubt that I was not the one that changed the Capital One commercial. But you know what? It sure as heck feels good to know that they're not doing the same thing that they said, and I did make a stand. So in my mind, I changed the world. You can too. All right, let's see what's going on in December. I will see you soon. All right, bye.
Stepping Forward with Tamara White, a licensed professional counselor and clinical psychologist, was brought to you by the WTOE Radio TV Network at throughoureyes.org. For more information on tonight's show, or to reach Tamara directly, you may email her at twhitecounseling@ twhite@yahoo.com or visit twhitecounseling.net. That's twhitecounseling.net. Special thanks to the numerous individuals and families that have stepped outside of the box to enlist assistance through therapy. All words, ideas, and comments expressed on Stepping Forward are those of Tamara White and not necessarily those of the National Federation of the Blind, the NFB of New Jersey, or the WTOE Radio TV Network. Until next time, I'm Michelle Paulette.
You've done it again.
That's all, folks.